This morning I found myself in Branson, Missouri, and most people come to Branson for the shows or the entertainment, just the multitudes of variety of fun things to do. You can drive down the strip and, it's kind of like Las Vegas of the Ozarks. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to check out Highway 265, and it's also known as the Ozark Mountain Scenic Byway. And it's about 66 miles long, and it starts here basically south of Branson and then kind of goes around over towards Table Rock Lake, which is another really popular place for recreation. And then it starts going up through some small towns and through the hills and mountains and a little bit of everything. So we're gonna see what kind of historical places we can find, maybe some old towns, and just kind of see what the day will provide for us and entertainment in a different kind of way in this part of Missouri. So let's go ahead and hit 265 and start heading kind of west and a little bit to the north. Most of the beginning of this video is just going to be some scenic driving through the hills and mountains of the early parts of 265 and along Table Rock Lake. But don't worry, the video is in double speed. I'm not really driving this fast throughout these twists and turns. Stopping off here at the Table Rock Lake Visitor Center, and didn't know what to expect. A lot of times you go to these places, they might have a lot and they might not, but this one was very impressive. A lot of stuff about Table Rock Lake, about the dam that was built here, about the Ozarks, wildlife, places for kids to do stuff. I'm being a little kid right here. So very, very impressive place. A lot of history about the flooding in the area and the, history of building the dam and how important that was. And so I really wasn't expecting anything at all, and I was kind of blown away by how much information was here. It's the Army Corps of Engineer projects, and so they show a map of all the different projects they've done throughout the United States. You hear about them a lot, and I've heard about them a lot in my travels and didn't realize all the different projects they had done through the years. Pretty interesting. And going down to the bottom level, you can see even more interesting things. Nice. And then tucked kind of down underneath, a lot of things about the wildlife of the Ozarks. But yeah, just overall, definitely highly recommended place to stop if you're taking this trip.
are suffering from yet another flood on the White River. Homes, businesses, and farmland throughout the river basin are being severely damaged or destroyed by rising water. Throughout the area, residents are fleeing with only what they can carry or load onto a boat.
After a lot of scenic driving, we come to our first town of the day. This is Branson West, and actually is originally known as Lynchpin and then Lakeview, which makes a lot of sense. It was Lakeview till 1992, and they changed it to Branson West to kind of connect with Branson, as tied into their entertainment and tourism industry. They incorporated in 1975, but as a new town, and you can see it's mostly just new buildings. Not much in the way of history here. You can find the city hall over here, but the population was pretty small. It has shot up to several hundred here in the last few decades. We're now getting away from Branson and into our first, what you'd call a historic town. This is Reed Spring, and it was named after Fitzhugh Reed, who settled near a spring in the area. So it makes sense. First post office in this area was opened in the 1870s, but the town wasn't officially organized till 1906, incorporated about 20 years later. It developed as a center for agriculture, and timber became a key location for railroad shipping when the Missouri Pacific Railroad extended through the area. Population was pretty consistent for a while, but has really exploded since 2010 and is over 1,000. I'm guessing just with the expansion of Branson that people have started to move to the areas near Reed Spring and are now within the city limits. So a pretty interesting town. You can see how it's kind of down in the valley there. A lot of cool old buildings and definitely some businesses, a lot of life here in Reed Spring. Take a little break here in Galena. This is a familiar place. I did a video about Galena almost 3 years ago. It was one of the first small town USA videos I did, and it was really well received. It had more views than any other video like that I had done to that point, and pretty much ever since. So they have this really cool historic Y bridge, and they had to do that because of how he had this bluff here, and they had to make this so you could get onto the road properly. And it's kind of a really cool but unusual bridge. They don't drive on it anymore, but pretty interesting to see it again. And so instead of going through a whole detailed history of the town, I'll give you a little snippet of what I did last time. And then if you want to watch the full video, it's available on the channel. So here's a little bit more about Galena, Missouri. We are rolling into Crane, Missouri, and going over Crane Creek, which is where it got its name. Crane was platted in 1895. It was originally called Hickory Grove, and then it was changed to Crane, Missouri, after, like I said, after Crane Creek there. Crane Creek is named after the numerous blue cranes that lived along the stream in this area. Post office has been open since 1887. Became a shipping point on the Missouri Pacific Railroad eventually, and they incorporated the town in 1912. And it's historically been a center for agriculture and local trade. Population has been around 1,000 for a long time, and as you can see, went down a little bit, but then has gone up, and it's at its highest point at nearly 1,500 today. I was actually here during a local farmer's market on the weekend, so kind of a fun time to visit Crane.
Gone 500 miles when the day is done.
Next up is Marionville. It was platted in 1854. It's had a post office since 1864. It was named after early settler and founder James Marion Moore. They had several names considered, Jamestown or Jamesville, Moorestown, Mooresville, but all those were already taken, and Moore's middle name, Marion, was then used. So the city grew as a local agriculture and trade center. The St. Louis and San Francisco Railway came through and promoted more economic activity. It was incorporated in 1870, and in the 20th century became known for its apple orchards and fruit farming. Town gained some attention for a population of white squirrels living in the area. I didn't see any except for the white squirrel in the middle of the town square. Population has always been pretty constant and growing, and it's been over 2,000 now for the last 3 censuses, and it's got a really cool downtown, but as you can see in some of the drone shots, very spread out town. Cruising into Aurora, Missouri, and if you know me, I don't spend too much time on the bigger towns with over 7,000 people. Aurora definitely would be a bigger town, but a nice drive-in movie theater, you don't see that every day. But I'll give you a little bit of history, and they do have a great downtown to see some old buildings. It was platted in 1870 by Stephen Elliott on 40 acres of land he purchased after the Civil War. Name was chosen reportedly after the Roman goddess of dawn. In 1885, Galena ore was discovered on a nearby farm, and that started a mining boom. By 1893, thousands of tons of zinc ore were mined and shipped from Aurora. The early population figures around 1900 said there's about 10,000 people in the area. The St. Louis-San Francisco Railway and the Missouri Pacific Railroad both came through Aurora. As you look at the population, you can see how that population went up early in the years, then back down after the mining boom was over, but it has gone back up, and over 7,000 in the last 3 censuses. Our final town is Mount Vernon, so another larger town that we'll show you a quick tour through the downtown. There's the courthouse. This is the county seat of Lawrence County. This area was settled in the 1830s. Then it was incorporated in 1845, named after George Washington's estate. Post office has been open since 1846. Interestingly, during the Civil War, both Confederate and Union troops were headquartered here. In 1862, Union forces captured a Confederate outpost here in Mount Vernon. Railroad came through in 1891, and the town continued to grow, and the population has increased all throughout its history. It's close to an interstate, so that has certainly helped its population in recent years. We're finishing up our trip here at the giant obelisk. That's the Ozark Trail Tribute, and pretty fitting to finish here. You know, Interstate 44 runs through here, which kind of bypassed Route 66, which is just north of here. And you know, Route 66, even though you know the history of that is all these towns being bypassed, when it was built, it was basically the replacement for the Ozark Trail. And so we've been on the Ozark Mountain Byway, so I thought that this would be a cool place to end. And obviously Mount Vernon is the last town on the stop here. So pretty cool. You know, the beginning of the trip, we were kind of in the scenic parts around Table Rock and, you know, the kind of winding through the mountains. And then we found some cool small towns at the end. So I thought that was a fun little road trip. Definitely highly recommended for anybody that would want to take that Ozark Mountain Scenic Byway. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of that video. And now that you're here, let me tell you a little bit about some of the extras that we have on the channel. One of the things you can do is you can become a member. There's 3 levels. There's the supporter level, there's the producer level, and the executive producer level. And all 3 levels have different perks, and as you are more supportive financially, there's more perks. We have extra videos every week and a lot of fun stuff going on in the member section. If you haven't done so, make sure you check out travelwithawiseguy.com. We've got lots of extra stuff on there, and one of the things is merchandise. You can get you Travel with a Wise Guy t-shirt. We have Death Go Round t-shirts. We have some coffee mugs, different things that are a lot of fun, and people seem to have enjoyed. Good quality there. Also on the website, you can do things like check out the Google map. I have a pin dropped in every place I've done videos about, then a link to the video so you can look at the map, and maybe there's somewhere where you live or somewhere you want to go. You can check out that map, and it seemed to be a very popular thing. You can sign up for my newsletter. I do that about every 3 weeks. It's totally free. And there's also all kinds of other links and tidbits in there, old videos, podcasts, just everything I could think of I throw on the website. So make sure you check out travelwithawiseguy.com.